Welcome to Subramani. A few days ago, somebody had put a comment saying that you speak about your successes, you do not speak about your failures. In fact, I've spoken a lot about my failures on subramani.com. You should go and read the kind of mistakes I've made and the learnings from those mistakes. So let me just introduce myself properly. Who am I? I am a speculator, I'm a trader, I'm a delivery based trader, I'm a pure morning evening kind of a day trader, I'm an investor, I'm a deep value investor. I can sit over 30 years plus 40 years plus on one investment. I can sit on one investment for 3 hours. I can do all of this. I'm everything rolled into one. I don't owe an explanation to anybody. I do not manage public money, and if anybody asks me whether I manage money, the answer is no. And that's what I am, and I don't need to apologize about this. So the question is, why do I talk only about my profits and successes and not about my failures? Because I take my failures very quickly. So let us say I bought a share at 100 rupees. And it's a trading position, and I will have a very strict stop loss, and I have absolutely no problem taking a 10% loss. So at 90 I will be out. Does not matter what is happening in the market. 90 is not my only stop loss. I have another stop loss that in 6 months, if the share has not gone anywhere, absolutely nowhere, which means 100 has remained as 100, maybe I've got 2 rupees as dividend, that doesn't matter, and nothing is happening, and then I revisit the share and I ask myself, is it worth holding on to a trading position beyond a particular time? So for my trading position I may take a 3-month view, but for my investment position I may take a 6-month view, because whatever has to happen to my investment has to happen within the next 2-3 years. So my 100 has to become 200 at least in 4 years, if not in 3 years. After that I may revisit and decide to keep it on for a very long period of time. I have shares which which my father bought in 1957, right, you heard me right, 1957, which the family is still holding. Of course there are a lot of investments made in 1977, 79, 83, then bought, sold, trading, all that has happened. All that is held. So somewhere you're a deep value investor also, and somewhere you're a speculator also. So let me give you an example. I bought shares of a company called GMR Infra, breaking my principle that I will not deal with a company in Hyderabad. Normally I don't buy a company which is in Hyderabad. I've had bad experience with the Nagarjuna group and all that. So I just stayed away from Hyderabad based companies, and I'm very happy that I did it. And I bought it at 71. Then I was talking to my friend and I said, look, I bought this GMR at 71, it looked good. So he said, no, it doesn't look good, just get rid of it. And there are a few people, maybe 4 or 5, whom I trust completely, and when they say get out, I get out. So I got out at 69. How much did I lose? I lost 2 rupees. After that I had the mortification of seeing GMR come down to 9 rupees, right? If I had held on till 9, I would have lost the whole capital. I mean, there is no point in holding on a share from 71 to 9 and then saying, abhi bech ke kya milega? I have strict stop losses, which allows me to book my losses very, very quickly. So in a year, there are many transactions in which I enter, I lose money and I exit very quickly. Even investment calls go wrong. There are times when the management changes or generation changes from one management to the other, or when the when the company decides to change its collaborator, or its collaborator leaves it and goes. Like Hero Honda became Hero Motors, Honda left it, right? Some of these are big major changes because of which I would rather get out. Similarly, I was not a big investor in the Tata Group. I had exited long ago. Even prior to Cyrus Mistry coming, the group was going nowhere, except TCS, in which I had shares, Tata Elxsi, a little bit of Tata Motors. But I had got out of Tata Steel, got into JSW. I had done all those kind of things. Maybe I had some Tata Global. And but after Chandra has come in and made sensible statements, I re-entered those groups. So it is possible that I have held Tata Power over a long period of time, But it is also possible that I exited Tata Power and re-entered Tata Power at a particular point in time. So all these things happen. So what am I? Am I a trader? Yes. Am I a speculator? Yes. Am I a delivery based trader? Yes. I go take delivery, wait for the arbitrage opportunity to happen, and then I sell. Or am I a deep value investor? Yes, I have shares like Titan, Kajaria Ceramics, all bought originally and added continuously. So yes, these things do happen. So it is not necessary that you classify yourself into one slot and say I am an investor or I am a trader or I am a speculator. You don't need to do that. Trader versus speculator is a question which even Benjamin Graham has not been able to handle very easily. So largely it's a mindset. But the time of buying, am I buying this with a view to speculate or with a view to hold on? For example, when I bought Happiest Mindset, I largely bought saying that I'm going to be an investor in this for the long term. But whenever I got a chance, I sold, I bought, I rebought, I resold. I've done all those kind of things. It does not make me a trader or a speculator. Yes, I'm an investor, but whenever I get an opportunity, I will trade also, right? I can change my mind. I can change my mind about a share. I have a right to change my mind, and like my friend Sham Shekhar says, I have a duty to change my mind when the facts change, right? So as a fund manager, I would have to do all those things and be accountable to completely nameless trollers on Twitter saying, why did you do this and why did you not do that, right? Luckily for me, I don't have to answer. So if somebody bought a piece of land and held it over 20 years in a place where there was no infrastructure, and then it got converted and it got sold at a very high price, what do you call him? Do you call him an investor or a speculator, or just luck that he bought in the right place? I have a friend who had a piece of land in Powai, and then he sold. He made a sensational amount of money. Has he beaten the index in that investment? Yes, he's beaten the index in that investment over a 12-13 year period, because he bought it. He just got timing right. He got the timing right, and he got the timing right in Powai. If he had bought that in Mira Road, he may not have made money. If he had bought it even in Marine Lines, he wouldn't have made money. So there are always some transactions occasionally where you make money, and then you think, can this be applied to your whole portfolio? The answer is no. My whole portfolio cannot be buy and hold. My whole portfolio cannot be speculative. My whole portfolio cannot be a delivery based trading. So yes, all these things happen. You change your mind, you enter, every asset is an investment in somebody's hand and a speculation in somebody's hand, right? So it's not you buy, it's why you buy, when you buy, how you buy, how quickly you trade. All this determines how much return you get. So yes, over long periods of time, also some parts of my portfolio have done well, but no part of my portfolio has done badly and stayed in my portfolio for a very long time. That's a very important learning, especially for new investors to learn, that take your losses very quickly. You may delay taking your profits, but take your losses very quickly. You bought some shit like Arcom at 500 rupees or at 25 rupees, whatever. You had to take your losses very quickly. You could not keep on averaging or things like that. When the company has no cash flow, there was no way how it would have made money, right? Same thing is true for so many other companies. If the company is doing badly, I mean, I saw a portfolio yesterday which has shares of Kingfisher and Jet Airways. Why would you still hold on to them? What are you hoping in hell for? Some of the shares which this person was holding include Z Media, some company called Z Media, not Z Entertainment, in which he has lost 75% of his capital. That's not small, that is huge, right? Why would you hold on to a share and watch 75% of your value get decimated? I don't know. In fact, Graham says you should keep your trading portfolio or investing portfolio separate. I really don't know whether that is possible. I have not been able to, and I don't think, I have bought and made money in shares like Assam Company. I don't even know what is the price of the share today. So if my trading call goes wrong, it does not become an investment. My trading call gone wrong is a trading call gone wrong. If my investment call goes wrong, then I sell off. We don't make it into a trading call. It does not become a trading call just because I think my investment call has gone wrong. Of course, there is a lot of ego involved. You also have to understand that there is an investor called George Soros. He is a trader and an investor. There is somebody called Warren Buffett, who has made money over long periods of time. There is no doubt that each styles are different. Go read about them, then develop your own style, decide what you want to be and make money. That's more important. Thank you.